With the first presidential debate now over between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, I made a whole video talking about the highlights, the important stuff, and who I thought won what and who won the other parts. Long story short, I basically said I think Donald Trump won when it came to the questions. Kamala Harris, oh, he won with the questions, and he won in the sense of not being rude or whatever unnecessarily. Kamala Harris won in her sharpness and her mannerisms and her animation, if you will. She won in that. So overall, whoever you think won overall, I'll leave that up to you. But that's what I personally thought. This is going to be my first map update after that debate, and I'm not going to be basing it off the newest polls or the polling averages. We just don't have anything really new. We got like one new poll from like Wisconsin and New Hampshire. That's about it. So not much. It won't. So far, there's just not much change that we can really talk about. Though, long story short, it looks like Kamala Harris has given her a bit of a boost. If you look here, into right here. On September 10th, Donald Trump had closed the distance down to just 1.1% below Kamala Harris, but since then, over the last few days, she has jumped up significantly, up to 1.7 again. So we have to see what Donald Trump can do to try and turn this around. He's gonna have to try and do something to try and turn this around because he does not. Otherwise, he may very well lose this election. So what we're gonna be basing this off of is not the polling averages or the newest poll, but we're gonna be basing it off of Polymarket's percentage for who's gonna win. That's what we're gonna be basing this off of. I think they are a very reliable place to go. So let's just go straight with California. So right here in California, we can see here according to Polymarket, we can see right here that the Democrats have a 94% chance of winning in the state. The Republicans only have a 2% chance of winning, so clearly the state is very solidly blue. It's just nothing's gonna happen. That 2% chance is just hard to believe, even that 2% chance. While we're gonna quickly fill in all the safe states that we know what's gonna happen with them. Alright, guys, so with that, we have now filled in all of the solid states. Let's move on right over to the next state, which is the state of Oregon. And the Oregon, this is kind of surprising because we saw in the RCP averaging and all that, it seems a lot closer, but we can see here the Democrats have a substantial lead, just 1% below California. So at least according to Polymarket, the state will be a solidly blue state. And that's surprising. If we look down over here, if we go to the state of Oregon over here, it's a lot closer. You know, right here, and see we only have one poll, which is 5%. So it's really hard to say that it really is that much, but according to Polymarket, it is. So that's what's going to be according to Polymarket. Let's go over to Washington now. Washington, we have once again the same thing. It's going to be a solidly blue state according to Polymarket. So we'll be going to say a solidly blue for Kamala Harris. There's only a 2% chance Donald Trump can win this state. And that's just not going to happen. That 2% chance is just really not going to happen. Let's go to our first battleground state, that's the state of Nevada. Okay, here, this is interesting. We can see here it's 50-50 exactly. According to the Polymarket, we just don't have anything to give for this state. It just really is that close. So for this case, the only thing I can really think to do is just to go over here and let's see what our RCP average says. Okay, we can see here. We haven't gotten a poll since the end of August. So we'll just go with what we have here. It's gonna be lean Democratic. So let's go to Arizona now. We can see here Arizona. I already mentioned this, but we saw that Donald Trump was really starting to run away with this state. He was gaining substantially in that state recently, and despite the debate, it looks like it hasn't hurt him. In fact, the very first place that Donald Trump went after his debate was to Arizona. My goal is that my guess is that Donald Trump's goal with this is that he probably knows that he's really starting to look good in Arizona, so he wants to make sure that his performance in the debate did not hurt his standing in Arizona. So he went straight to Arizona to make sure that state stays as red as it has gone so far and does not drop back to being as competitive as it was. And after that, he will then move on to the other swing states to trying to give himself a little bit of a boost back right in those states. He took a small hit, but he's going to try and get that boost that he needs to get back to that on track or whatever. So state pretty good for Donald Trump. We will be giving the state as likely to Donald Trump. So the state, he is still looking pretty good in the state of Arizona, better than he was before. And let's go to Colorado and Mexico. And again, according to Polymarket, the state of Colorado will not be likely, but solidly blue. That seems a little hard to believe. Let's just take a look at Mexico while we're at it. That seems a little hard to believe, but I don't know. I'm gonna go off of it. New Mexico will be a little closer. So since the Republicans do have a 10% chance of winning this one, I will put it as likely. That is a decent sized chance of winning it. So this one will be solid, and this one will be likely. All right, we're just gonna fill in the state of Nebraska as we know it will go. Donald Trump will easily win all of this except for the second district. Or sorry, the second district will be lean blue. He could win it, but he probably won't. It will be slightly towards Kamala Harris. Let's go to Texas. And okay, as you can see here in Texas, it's really just as you'd expect it to be. The Republicans have a massive lead. It's going to clearly be almost solid. It's actually almost solidly for them. But as you can see here, it will be just barely not solid, but it will be still likely, but close to solid. Let's go to Illinois. Yeah, Illinois. It's the only state in all of, like, the Midwest region that it's extremely blue. There's really no reason for Donald Trump to really even try in that state. He was able to flip every other state from the Midwest except for that one. And really, it's just not going to change anytime soon. Illinois is just a very blue state. It's the state of Abraham Lincoln, although Abraham Lincoln was a Republican, but a lot of the values that he stood for, the modern Democrats, not back then, but the modern Democrats stand for. So it's all that symbolism of Abraham Lincoln standing for a lot of things that the modern Democrats stand for is, it's a whole thing. So that's why the state will be solidly blue. Let's go to Minnesota. All right, this is interesting. According to Polymarket, this state, which is by the way considered a battleground state, says the Democrats have a 93% chance of winning this state. That seems hard to believe. Donald Trump came extremely close to winning it in 2016. And it was not very close in 2020, but in 2016 it was very close. And he was leading the polling averages by he was leading the polling averages at one point. So this is hard to believe. But just to stay neutral and go for what we have, the state will be solidly blue. Let's go to Wisconsin. All right here we can see Wisconsin. The state of Wisconsin will be much closer. Donald Trump does have a 41% chance of winning in this state, according to Polymarket, and his percentage lead. And this is the state, out of the three blue wall states, Donald Trump is falling behind, and that's surprising. You would think that Wisconsin would be the state that he would be gaining in, but no, he's fallen behind in this state, which is, again, that's a shock because Wisconsin was the one he was closest to winning last time. Now he's fallen behind in this state. So the state will still be lean. It's not quite high enough for me to put it as likely, but the state will be lean Democratic. Oh, sorry, lean. Sorry, there we go. Lean. It's pretty much in that likely region though. It's getting there. Let's go to Michigan. Exact same thing with Michigan. We can see it's extremely close with Michigan, and it's about the same. But now here's the thing. I did see on I'm going to show it to you guys. I'll put this in probably my next video. I'll point this out, but I'm going to show it to you guys right now. Right here, look at this. We did have one new poll. I said it was from Michigan. We did get one new poll from Michigan from the 12. Has Trump up by 1%, which is big. And it has brought Harris's lead down to just 0.7. And I saw an article that said Donald Trump's closing statement in his presidential election, in the debate, was actually felt a whole lot more than Kamala Harris's. And I agree with that. I think Donald Trump's closing statement about, why hasn't she done it? She won't do it. She hasn't done it yet, so she won't do it. He said that. He said a few other things. I don't remember what they were. But that whole statement, and also the fact that people that don't really know Kamala Harris, but they do know Trump, in the state of Michigan specifically, among undecided voters, it did help Donald Trump a lot. It was actually, I saw a whole article on that his closing statement actually resonated very well in Michigan. So that could explain why we're seeing this, why Trump suddenly is up by 1% in the newest poll, and has brought Harris's lead down overall in the state's average down to just 0.7. So Trump, we're seeing a kind of reversal. Wisconsin's becoming more and more likely to go to Kamala Harris, but Michigan is actually losing its liberal stance and it's kind of trending towards Donald Trump. Still trending towards her overall, but it's losing it. It's slowly moving towards Trump. So we'll have to see what happens. But the state will be, nevertheless, as of right now, lean Democratic, at least for right now. Let's go to Pennsylvania. All right, here we go. This is big. Donald Trump has been fighting his pardon my language, he's been fighting his ass off to hold on to this state. He needs Pennsylvania. Kamala Harris, both the candidates, they need this state so badly. It must go one way or the other for either candidate to win. Whoever wins it will win this election. I'm telling you that right now. Whoever wins Pennsylvania, there's just no other way that any candidate can win this election without winning Pennsylvania. Or unless you're Donald Trump, you can still win the election if you win Wisconsin and Michigan or one of them. But Pennsylvania is the one he's really banking on because it's the one he has the best chance of winning. So, and we can see now, despite the election, or despite he's saying that, despite the debate, he remains ahead by a 1% lead. So the state will be lean Republican. So that right there, it just shows how insanely close this state is. And Donald Trump, it just shows you how hard Donald Trump is fighting to hold on to the state, to keep the people's opinion for him in this state. And he really was playing that in the debate. You saw he was talking about fracking. How Kamala Harris said she was going to stop fracking in Pennsylvania. Now she's kind of reversing that. And Donald Trump said, well, she's only reversing it. She's going to my philosophy. She's copying me. So Donald Trump absolutely played it very smart. I would say he absolutely won the argument about fracking in Pennsylvania. And his policy changes, and Kamala Harris' policy changes about fracking in Pennsylvania. And Donald Trump, that part of the debate, Donald Trump absolutely won. Because he played it very well. He made it clear that he wants that he played it in such a way that he favored Pennsylvania. And that's what really, I think, helped him. That part of the debate helped him out in Pennsylvania. So he has held on to his lead in Pennsylvania while suffering in a few other places. But if he wins Pennsylvania, it will be worth it for him. Let's go to Ohio. Yeah, okay, so you see here in Ohio, it's going to be a solidly blue state. Or, sorry, a solid red state. And if you add on the fact that, so Donald Trump is clearly ahead by a massive margin. If you add on the fact that J.D. Vance is from Ohio, it's just no doubt. It's going to be 100, it's basically 100% that Ohio goes solidly red. So, not just red, but solidly red. So, there you go. So, let's go to, we have three major battleground states right here, Virginia, North Carolina, and Georgia. Let's go to Virginia. We can see here in Virginia, the Democrats do hold a strong lead, but it's close. Or, sorry, it's not close, but the chance is there for Republicans to win this state back. And there is an attempt. It's in the polling averages, it's close. We did get a new poll from Virginia that has Harris up by like 8%, which is hard to believe it's that much, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. So it's there. If Donald Trump can really just push his people to get out there, vote, and like crazy, and the people that like Kamala Harris are like, a lot more laid back. See, that's why the intensity, I mentioned the intensity a few videos back about voters. Donald Trump's voters have a much greater intensity than Kamala Harris do. That's why you see Trump flags and signs everywhere, and you're like, oh my god, Trump's everywhere. He must be winning like crazy. Not necessarily. He's not winning like crazy, but if the people that support him have a much greater intensity. They're like all over him, like, yes, go Trump. Or Kamala Harris supporters, I mean, you have the extreme liberals who are all about her, but other than that, you just have the usual people who are just kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna vote for her. I like her policy. That's about it. So with that mindset, though, it can really help boost the Republicans to vote a lot more than the Democrats would for Kamala Harris. They might vote, they might not, but the Republicans they're gonna vote. So that's why. And not saying Kamala Harris is not urging her voters to vote. She obviously is. But Donald Trump is favoring in the intensity field. He's getting his viewers or his followers or his voters hyped up, ready to go, vote. That's why if he can really control and get the voter turnout on election night in his favor, he can turn this around absolutely. So Virginia, that's why Virginia, despite seemingly being very Democratic, is still a battleground state. But it will nevertheless be likely Democratic. We saw the state drop from likely down to lean recently, but it's gone now back up to likely. So that's just how it is. Let's go to North Carolina. North Carolina, it's close. It's going to be a lean state, but nevertheless, Donald Trump is clearly still the favorite to win. Democrats only have a 43% chance of winning the state. It's obviously, it's it's within the realm of possibility, just probably not going to happen. Donald Trump is definitely the favorite to win in this state. He has won it both elections, 2016 and 2020. Both times he was expected to lose the state, and both times he won it. So clearly the state will be lean, but nevertheless will go to Donald Trump. Let's go to Georgia, very important state. Okay, here in Georgia, the state will be lean, but Republicans, we saw Donald Trump, he lost the state recently, but now he's starting to pull it back. He's starting to pull ahead in the state just like he is in Arizona. So in Arizona and Georgia, he's pulling ahead, and we can see here the state will be barely, but for right now, it will still be a lean state, but it's getting close to likely, according to this. If you look just a few more percentage points, then it will be a likely Republican state, but for right now, it's still a lean state. So Georgia will go to Donald Trump by a lean margin, but almost a likely margin. But for now, it's going to remain lean. We already know what Florida's going to look like, but let's go to Florida anyway, just for the heck of it. Let's see what it's going to look like. Yeah, you can see here, it's just not going to happen. Now, technically, this still makes it a likely state, not a solid state, but it might as well be solid. There's just no way it's going to happen. We already knew that. So we'll put the state down as likely. And we already know what most of the Northeast is going to look like, and plus Donald Trump already wins the election with 280 electoral votes at this point. But for the heck of it, let's take a look at the other states up here. We'll look at New York. Let's just go with New York now. Now, see, in polling polling percentages recently, we've seen how Donald Trump has been doing better than expected in a state like New York. Now here it still says it's still clearly a solid fit according to this. So we saw in the RCP averaging, it's not anywhere near what Kamala Harris would probably want it to be. It's definitely still very much her gonna win. But it could turn. But it's not as much as she wanted it to be. Nevertheless, we see her New York gonna be a solid state, but it's getting more competitive. It's about to become a likely state. So next election, in 2028, it will probably be a likely state. All right. We're just gonna fill the rest of it. We know what it's gonna look like. So we're just gonna fill in. These two states will both be likely. This will be solid. Apologies, people. We had a few bugs, but I took care of them. Long story short, I was talking about how you see New York will be solid. So I explained it. Basically, it's just gonna. By 2028, it'll probably be a lot more competitive. We're just going to be filling the state of Maine. It will probably go to Kamala Harris overall by a slim margin. Donald Trump will win the 2nd district easily, and she will win the 1st district easily. Depending on the voter turnout, the state as a whole could go either way. And with that, we have to fill in. Oh, I forgot to fill in Rhode Island. Okay. Anyways, and then why is this? There you go. Okay, now we can fill in the state of New Hampshire. So let's just go to New Hampshire. I'm just going to show it to you guys because we did get a new poll from that state, and it is getting a lot more competitive. But the Democrats maintain a 86% chance of winning overall, so the state will be likely Democratic, which is the same thing that we did see in the other one, but we did get a new poll from this state, so I wanted to just point that out to you. With that, this is your election. This is our election prediction based off all the polling market percentages, and this is my first update, and this is the most realistic update for the map following the presidential debate. At this point, this is what you can expect to see following the presidential debate. Wisconsin is becoming more and more for Kamala Harris. She's pulling away with that state. Nevada is slightly Democratic, too close to call. Arizona, Donald Trump is really running away with the state. This state is becoming less and less of a battleground state. Donald Trump is really just pulling ahead in that state. Georgia, same thing. It's still a lean state, but Donald Trump is really starting to pull away with Georgia as well. It went to Kamala Harris temporarily, but now he's pulling away with it. North Carolina is very close. It probably will go to Donald Trump though. Same in Pennsylvania, it's very close, but it probably will go to Donald Trump. Michigan is still lean Democratic, but it's shockingly becoming more competitive. I thought it was maybe Wisconsin. Wisconsin is really pulling away towards Kamala Harris, but Michigan, Donald Trump's closing statement seems to have really helped him in Michigan because it's dropped down almost a full percentage. From it was 1.7, now it's only 0.7 in the state. So it's really, if Donald Trump can keep it up, he might be be able to win the state of Michigan. Everything else is what you would expect for the most part. Some things might change, some things might not. But with this, with the way things are, as we see right now, Donald Trump will win this election with 281 electoral votes. That's gonna be all for today, guys. Hope you guys liked it. Leave a comment, leave a like, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification. It really helps out the channel. You can undo it anytime you want. It's free, totally free. Doesn't cost you a thing. Just hit the button. And if you want to keep seeing these coming, just do that. So that's gonna be all. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.